Hey guys, Solomon here at Life After Work channel. This is a complete do-over. A couple of days ago I put out my first part of this video and my blood pressure was through the roof. I wasn't feeling good. And then I did some more on what I'm going to do today. And I'll be honest with you, nothing came out. So, glad to be here. When I wake up without dirt in my face, I'm a happy camper. So here we go. I'm going to now show you what you've probably been waiting for. It's a box opening, but it's not going to be that kind of box opening. But let me just turn you around here and show you what I'm talking about. There you go. The Uss Missouri. For those of you who don't know the history, there were 4 ships built in the early to late 40s during World War II. They were the Iowa class ships. The first one was the Iowa. You can go look it up on the interweb if you want to, but the Iowa is now a museum ship. The second one was Wisconsin. The USS Wisconsin was another state-named battleship. Same hull plan, same everything. But they always made a few minor differences. Then there was the New Jersey, and then there was this ship, the Missouri. And I'm working on a 1:350 scale New Jersey, which I consider a very poor model by Revell, Germany. And I'm now going to open the Trumpeter USS Missouri 63 1:200 scale. So let's just check into this. First of all, I'll take this out of your way because this is later information. It'll come later. That's the ship. And guess what? It's the box, and this is just the box, is 46¼ inches long. However, if you look at the dimensions, the length of this ship is 1,352 millimeters long, 165 millimeters at the beam, and there's 1,573 pieces. Well, guess what all that means? It means that this ship is going to be, in imperial terms, 53 inches long. And the 1,573 pieces is nominal. And let's talk about why that's the case. So let me make an adjustment here. Okay guys, I don't remember where I was on the video. I've had to stop and start several times. Still struggling a little bit with blood pressure problems. I'm going to try now to open this, and I've done this video several times. It's very awkward. Now this is a typical trumpeter setup. I like the way they do this. They put different parts of it in different boxes to protect it. And when you have a model this big, you just can't leave everything in one big box. Since the length of this model is 1,352 millimeters, for you non-metric guys, that's about 53 inches. They had to cut down the hull to get it to fit in the box. It was a decent size. Otherwise, you'd have just a phenomenally huge box. So, first of all, right on top, they have their instruction manuals. And I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, but it's pretty much typical of trumpeter. And they do give the tools that are recommended that you'll need that aren't included in the kit. They say here that this kit is not recommended for inexperienced modelers or for children under 14. I'm glad they told us that, because I would have thought that, geez, anybody could do this. So anyway, it's typical layout, and you know, they show the main parts, the main hull parts, and they've got a good inventory list, so it's easy to go check the parts and make sure you have everything. I actually, in this model, the bow did not exist. It's not in here. So I've got back with the people I bought it from, and they're looking into it with their distributor to see what we have to do. I hope they don't say send it back, because I really don't want to do that. So this is a good inventory list, and I suggest to everybody, when you buy a model, do an inventory right up front. It's easy. All of the sprues have this case, an alpha number on it, and all the individual parts have a numeric number, and you can go through and check everything. This kit has these extra photo etch parts. Check and make sure they're not damaged, not bent. You don't want to have to be repairing any more than you have to. And then it starts, quite frankly, with putting the hull together. Put the bow together, put it on the hull. I then will be cleaning up the hull. I'll show you in a minute why. I have had this out twice and lost the video or lost the sound. This model is great because they reinforce the hull. As big as it is, it needs all kind of reinforcement. I'm not going to go through the details of this, but they do have 56 pages or 56 sections to build this. The final section being building the airplanes that go on the stern. I don't know if I've mentioned, but this model is as it was in World War II, basically when it was launched, which is really what I wanted because it's bristling with guns. So we've got that. We also have a painting and marking guide. Now, I'm going to have to carefully go through this and look at it, because they give you this in Mr. Hobby, Vallejo, Model Master, to me, a Humbrol, but a lot of the colors don't exist in some of these, so I'll have to look to see exactly what paints I'm going to have to get. But it's pretty much typical paint scheme for a battleship. So we've got that. These parts, let's start here. This will give you a good idea of what this model is all about. So let's set this up here. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a good picture of this. I've got two cameras going. This is your 01 and 02 level for this model. And I'll maybe later when I start working on this, I'll get the New Jersey equivalent parts out at 1 to 350, because you need to kind of get an idea what the difference between 1 to 200 and 1 to 350 is. These are very nice size and should be very, very easy to work on. The hull, like I said, I've had it out before. I've looked it over, and it's very clean, very well marked. All these indentations along the side don't exist on the New Jersey. These really help to figure out where things go. It comes with, and I haven't looked in the instructions yet, it comes with two fairly substantial steel rods. I don't know if those are propeller shafts or what, but they're, you know, that's something. I'll take a look at those. The hull is the only thing, the bottom of the hull, and this, because it's on the bottom, it doesn't bother me. But these gates, and I'm going to use the same terminology I use in metal casting, but these gates where the plastic goes in, the injected plastic goes in, when they were removed, it's almost like they were broken off because there's some indentations. Well, this is going to have to be sanded, and there'll probably be a little bit of fill, but this is a much better hull than what I had on the New Jersey. This is really a fine quality. So that's not much work. That's a few minutes time just to sand them down, and if I have to do any filling, it's a minimal amount. So that basically is a fairly nice hull. I'm pretty pleased with it. As I take things out, I'll have to put them back I'm sure you'll understand why, because let's face it, I'd have to have a shop as big as this entire garage just to be able to unbox this. Now, I'm not going to do a detail unboxing the way you would with a small model, because let's face it, with 1,500, over 1,500 parts, you know, it'd take me 3 hours just to go through them. But I want to show you how they've got them boxed so you get a good idea. I like the way Trumpeter does this. It was the same with my Trumpeter submarine model, and they do make these boxes fit extremely tight. All right, one of the things I wanted to point out was the photo etch. This photo etch, I'll open one. They put several of them together, but I am almost 100% positive that this is substantially thicker than the photo etch that came in the 1-350 New Jersey, which is good because a bigger model needs a sturdier photo etch. But it also should make it a lot easier for me to bend and cut without damaging this. The stuff on the New Jersey was so flimsy that it's extremely difficult to deal with. This looks like some good detail photo etch that came with the model, but then we've got the second half of this that I'll get to later to explain why this photo etch, for me doing this model, might be unnecessary overkill, because I'm going to do what I consider some very necessary overkill in just a minute. Guns. This particular box, I've got guns. These look like the 5-inch 54s. And there's a lot of them. If you'll notice, this has 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 10 of these, which gives you an idea how many guns this ship is going to carry. There's all kinds of detail. Now, one thing I look at on a model, especially a big model, and this was a serious problem on the New Jersey, I don't want to cut all these pieces off. You never want to just sit there and cut pieces off the sprues, because they are numbered and you will get lost on a model this size. But I want to wash them. Get all that sprue oil or whatever it is, the releasing agent, off of them. So I want to soak them for a while before I actually start building the model. Now, these gates going in, and that's these gates right here that you have to cut them off, and try to keep you in focus with the camera. They need to be fairly substantial so that the parts don't just start falling off. Well, they did on the New Jersey, and it's a real hassle. These are good sized gates. I've looked through all these packs. I don't see anything falling off the sprues. The injection is very clear, very clean. There's always some cleanup you're going to do just to get your fit and finish the way you want it. But these are really good. I'll put them back in the bag. I don't want to get them all messed up. And on the New Jersey, I had to put them back in the bag because parts were just falling off, and I wanted them to fall off in the correct bag. So I'll not take all these off, but they've got a lot of really nice detail. And some of this detail, again, is going to be replaced with photo etch. Here we've got a bag where they literally have all the pieces for the screws in one bag, and it's also got the anchors in it, and the anchors are highly detailed and appear to be articulated. They're in 2 pieces, which is what I wanted, and I had to buy aftermarket for the New Jersey to get that. So that's nice. But let's just take a quick look here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sprues and 2 sprues of clear, and these appear to be for the airplanes, so the airplanes will be built in clear, which seems to be fairly normal for these models. So that's just this one box has 13 sprues. I'm not going to go through all of them. And I didn't even count this little bag of cast or injected screws and the like. So this is just one box. And there's 3 more boxes to go. Now I'm going to set these aside rather than put it back in, because I'm going to have to go down lower. Let me pull this one out. This one is the main deck. It's in 2 equal pieces. I'm glad they didn't cut it the same way they cut the hull, because that way when this is glued in, it'll just add a little more strength to that joint where the bow comes in. So they cut this in the middle. It's a nice piece. Nice 2 pieces. And it does resolve some issues that I had with the New Jersey. One are the rear gun tubs. Now there is some damage on this, but I've got to determine that should be a matter of just pushing it in place, putting a little glue on it. But these gun tubs will have all kinds of guns in them, because this is the World War II version. A lot of good detail on this deck. You probably can't see it in the picture, but that really is a lot of good detail. Some of it won't matter. Back here, it may matter, but you got to remember this isn't going to have that helicopter landing pad on the back of it. Here's the bow. The beauty of this bow, if I can get the bow for the hull, they have the openings already drilled to run your anchor chain out the sides and to run any tow chain out the bow. And the hull is supposed to have all that detail on it too, on the bow. So when I get those 2 pieces, I'll check that out. But there's a lot of great detail on this one that doesn't exist on the 1-350 version. Which again, I'm kind of a detail guy, so that sort of makes me, in some cases, handicapped. Because if I can't get a big model, I don't want to waste my time with it. And I thought the New Jersey was big enough, but after seeing this, I'm loving 1-200. Now, that's just for certain types of models. For other models, other scales work really well. So there, got that. Let's take a look at this one. And again, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail, but this is the kind of cross braces. Let me pull these out. These are the kind of cross braces that go in the hull itself to strengthen up that long hull and keep it from warping. These are fairly substantial plastic. I mean, it's good styrene on these. I like the heft of it. I like the thickness of it. And of course, that's all due to the fact that it is a much larger model. These are the stacks. Okay. The top part of the stacks are already drilled open. There's details that can go down in there. There's etched brass that'll go on it. This is the kind of detail right here. You can't see that real well, but that goes on the top of the stack. On the New Jersey, all that had to be drilled out and photo etch put in place, and the photo etch is so tiny it's just a real problem. So that's kind of nice for this. And in here, so far, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sprues in here. Tons of detail. And the parts aren't such, I mean, there's a lot of small parts, but they're not that kind of fiddly small part that probably shouldn't have been made into separate parts. This makes it fun to model. So a lot of good parts there, and detail is extremely crisp and clear on them. One more box. I've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sprues of guns, and these look like the 3-inch 54s. And then tons and tons. Now this gets into fiddly parts, but these are the kind of details I like on a big model. They've got all kind of pressurized gas bottles, lights. Now the chocks on this one are much bigger, should be a lot easier to put on this model than to put on the New Jersey. So it's got all the chocks. So we've got all that, and I actually have several sprues of those. 3 sprues of those, which gives you an idea how many there are, and some more big superstructure parts. So this is, it's cranking up to be a substantial build, and I'm seriously considering doing this build as I continue the New Jersey, because there are tips off of this that I can get, because it's such a much better model, so much clearer, that I'll be able to take a look at this model, see what it's really supposed to be like, because the New Jersey and the Missouri are the same ship. It's just different eras in their careers. But that might help me figure out some stuff with the New Jersey. So I'm going to stop this right now and get on to the next part. Okay, let's get on to this box. This is the Mark I design, 1 to 200 USS BB-63 Missouri detail upset. It comes with a lot of stuff. I'm going to read it off the box. It says large sized full wooden deck. We've got a one pre-painted color etched part, 300 resin parts, 22 detailed brass photo etched parts. Now I don't know if that's 22 sheets. We'll open it up in a minute, but it may be a lot more parts. 275 brass metal parts and 50 centimeters of chain. This model came with chain. I didn't pull that out, but I'm going to see which chain works best for me. Now I actually, this piece right here was on a larger piece wrapped around this. It was a sleeve you slide off. I wanted to keep this box intact the way it is, so I just cut this out and taped it to the front, because I like this type of box. Now let me get around and see if I can make this work a little easier. First of all, it comes with a box. This box says microwave reheatable. Well, that's ominous, but not too worried about that. Let's open the box. I'm definitely not taking everything out of here, but I want you to see the kind of detail we're looking at. These are some of the resin parts. They are tiny, and some of the chain. It looks like they're so small I have a hard time telling you what they really are, but I will before I get the model finished. We'll see what they are. There are a lot of little fine brass pieces. It looks like antenna. Some of these look like maybe the cannon for the Bofors and the smaller guns, 3-inch, 5-inch. Little fiddly bits, tiny little pieces. Then we've got aluminum barrels for the 16-inch guns, as well as a lot more of these smaller brass pieces. So I'm going to have to get into it to find out what all those are. And I'm not sure what some of these other small pieces are, but there's a lot of aluminum as well as brass. Now I know what these are. These are actually those flexible sleeves that the barrels go into. Now on the 1 to 350, it wasn't meant to have all of this, so you had to cut the barrels off of those, drill them out, put the brass barrels in. These are already cut off. They were intended to have these aluminum barrels put in from the beginning, so that saves a lot of work. And then even more small fiddly parts. And I honestly, this will maybe deck gear and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what some of this is. So now on the model, the 16-inch guns with their flexible coverings were one piece. This didn't just say cut those apart, drill the holes, and put the barrels in. This gave you both pieces, so that saves a lot of work and a lot of time. There's a full array of these sheets that show you how this stuff all goes together. And they've even got second and third gun turrets with the Bofors twin 40s that are totally in the photo etch. A lot of detail, just tons of detail. So whether I'm up to doing all this detail or not was yet to be determined. But take my word for it. It's an amazing model. They've also on this one, and this is what no longer existed on the New Jersey, are these launchers for the airplanes. And this kit has total photo etch. Also, this one right here. This is something I always look for, and that's how you get your boats in the water. This is your ladder going down and your bumpers for your boats to come up against, so that when you're moored out, because one of these ships doesn't always get to come up to a pier, they usually have to anchor out somewhere, just moor out in an anchorage. And this is where your boat comes in and people come on it and leave. Now there's 2 of these as far as what I've seen so far, which is correct. There should be one forward and there should be one aft. Officers use the one forward, enlisted use the one aft. That's just the rules. You don't go up the same gangway. So very accurate for the period. Then you have all of these. Now these are layered and stapled. Layered and stapled. And there's just dozens of them. Plus, I don't know if you can see in the background, this is the teak wood deck that covers the bow and stern. So this kit alone pushes the number of parts from 1,573 pieces. I don't know what the offset is. I don't know how many of these replace parts in styrene, but it's pretty obvious I'm going to be over 2,000 pieces. Now, the number of pieces doesn't matter, but when you get into a model this size, I think it matters in that the more you mold in, the less detail you have, the smoother it looks, and it just isn't very interesting. So on a larger model, you need more detail. That's bottom line. So that's it. This is part of my birthday present to me, and I bought it. It's what I wanted. Now let's look over here. That's my new camera. I bought a Canon, and I'm going to turn it off. And the beauty of it is I have a remote so that I can turn it off just by pressing a button. There you go. It's no longer recording. It's got a sun shield on it, a light shield, so that I don't get reflection on the lens from the lights or coming through the windows. This is the, oh, and it's got Dolby sound, by the way, if anybody's interested. But this is the pro version of this. It's the XA30 Pro high definition. It has ports for 2 of these chips, and you can record both chips at the same time, or you can set it up to run from one chip. When it runs out, run it to the next. And of course these are 64 gigs, so I've got 128 gig capacity with 64 gig chips, and you can use larger chips. So this is a good camera for a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but it does have 2 inputs. Well, 1 input for a regular mic and 2 inputs for a professional mic, and I'll get into more of that later because I do have plans. I'm trying to get my sound worked out a little better, trying to get my lighting worked out a little better, and that's my other birthday present. So anyway, that's pretty much it for right now, and maybe I'll end up getting something else before long. I don't know. I'll have to wait till I get a handful of retirement checks coming in. Anyway, thanks for taking a look at these videos, and I've got to get back to modeling because it looks as though I'm losing subscribers. I guess I'm not doing enough modeling, and I've got to make sure that I get back on my Bumblebee, make sure I get on the New Jersey, because I'm continuing it. This is just gravy right here, and my submarine is gravy as well. Also, I've got that USS Constitution. That's almost a meter long from the tip of the mast to the stern. I mean, so, and it's got 1,500 parts on it, plus all the rigging, so I've got a lot to do. So I guess I'm going to just finish this right here, and just wanted to talk a little stash with you. But this is exciting because this is going to help me. Just this model alone, I can take the instruction book out, and I can just about guarantee you that the instruction book for this model will help me more for putting that 1 to 350 New Jersey together than the New Jersey's instruction manual. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, everybody take care, have a good week, and life after work. Solomon, I'm out of here. Bye.